you did not lose respect overnight. Okay? It was taken based on how you showed up day by day. And a lot of us men don't realize the part we play in how this affects us. So we now think that it's a woman problem rather than just and blame them fully, right? Instead of focusing on how much control we have over the situation and how much we can change it. Now, I grew up in a household where I saw the consequences of this, and due to the need to develop survival skills on both fronts, I observed what both people were doing to get to that outcome. So in other words, I've been working on this for the past 20 plus years. Initially started as a hyper way to spot survival patterns, but it then became something that I indirectly embedded and then had to eradicate. So in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why when I work with people in a 3R method, it comes easy for me to help them understand how to build a system that maintains the very thing that they need to protect in order for the relationship to thrive, which a lot of people will tell you is love, but in my opinion is respect. Alright, cool. So we're going to start with the problem. So the problem starts, and there's normally 3 steps or 3 ways as to how someone responds to them. Okay? Now, each way stacks up points, right? Imagine there's like a tank, right? And think of the honeymoon stage. The honeymoon stage, so there's 5 stages to a relationship. I'm going to dive into that later. But in the first stage, which is the honeymoon phase, think of the respect levels you guys have for each other. They're quite high, right? Why do you think that is? I'll tell you, because it's not you can tell me anyway. But it's because there's expectations. Oxytocin is at all high levels. Expectations are being met. And then because the expectations are being met, there's this domino effect that you can even set more expectation than even those will be met. So now it's like, oh my gosh, I wonder what could happen, right? And then you get to the second phase. The second phase is when reality starts to kick in. They no longer seem as perfect as they used to be. So the cracks start to show, the patterns start to show. For those that weren't paying attention the first time, because they were mesmerized. It's almost like in Italian we call it sirenia. You were mesmerized by the infatuation of love. You allowed that to distract you from what you should have been looking at. So now you start to slowly see the patterns, and you're realizing that you're 2 different people. Okay? Now some people at this level decide to depart because they want to stay stuck at that honeymoon stage. But then there's level 3. That is the fighting zone. This is where you guys are at each other's throats, trying to understand whose identity should thrive and whose identity needs to go. Okay? And at this level, this is when you start to take the hits. See, the reason why you never experience that in relationships is because most people at stage 3, they just don't need to experience it. They can just cut it off, they can move on to the next person, they can say, listen, I value my peace, namaste, and get the fuck out. Right? However, for those that stay, they learn that there's 3 ways they can deal with issues. They either avoid it, they create an intentional response, or they try to control it or fight it. Now, in my case, I tried 3 of them. An intentional response wins each and every time. I guarantee you. You can try the other 2, but when you escape, what happens? It piles up. It's like a debt collector that comes in and collects anyway, and then they knock at the door and they say, hello, have you forgot about me? But the way it shows up in the relationship is, anymore. I don't feel safe around you anymore. And there's no arguments. I'm like, I escaped all of them. Any sort of disagreements, I said, yeah, I'm going to come back to them and blah, blah, blah. Or you go full front and you fight them and you say, listen, I want to stand my ground. Now you're drained because you have to fight for everything. And I broke down in the video in sort of deeper length what happens during conflict, which is we're not fighting our partners, we're fighting the identities that we want to represent in that conflict. And what shifts is your ability to understand how to navigate that space. Which gets you to number 4. Number 4 is acceptance. Number 4 is when you accept that you're two different people and you start to learn to appreciate that about each other. You start to understand that you don't have to be the exact same person for the relationship to work. You can be two different people and operate at two different levels. This is the long-term relationships. Now, to keep this intact, if you keep fighting or controlling, you ain't gonna last long. The way you stack up points or maintain this tank is by focusing on being intentional with your responses. Very, very intentional. I'm not talking about being passive, or I'm not talking about being aggressive, I'm talking about being intentional. This is what I want out of this conversation. See, because when each step, or let's say route, is sending a message. Lack of conflict is saying, I'm a coward. Constant conflict is saying, I don't know how to negotiate. I suck at understanding how to accept you as you are. Intentional response says, let's figure this out. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I know what I want from this. And that, my friend, always looks after the tank. A lot of people do the two, and that's how you end up subtracting. -10. That's it. Yeah, -10. -80. -10 again. And then there's nothing left. There's no respect. There's no ability to navigate situations because it's all gone. Right? So intentional response gets you to the ideal destination that you want. And what is that ideal destination? Number 5. The space where you guys choose each other. You've seen who you are. It's like it's the full round circle. You accepted who they are. And you choose to love them. But now it's based on reality and fantasy merged together. Which is what creates this beautiful space where I choose to love you. And I know that you also want the best for me. And I see you for who you are. I don't see you based on what I want to see. I see you based on who you are, and I choose to love you. In order for you to get there, to that space, but most people don't get, because no one's really showed us this. What needs to happen is you need to go through intentional response and understand what story, what route, and what outcome do you want each and every time. You need the roadmap. And that's exactly what I help people build when I speak to them on a private basis. So when we work on the 3R method, okay, this works because it's not necessarily based on you fixing the relationship, okay, but it's based on you being able to overcome stage 3, 4, and 5, which are the levels as to which you either establish a strong relationship or you understand what to do in your next relationship. Okay, and I'll give you a practical example of someone I worked with recently. So he went through a breakup, and this breakup was supposed to shatter him. Right? He jumped on the call with me and he said, "Mike, I'm doing good. I'm feeling amazing." I said, "What?" I remember my first breakup. Right? I think it was the second breakup. But whatever breakup you're telling me, there's no way I'm hopping on the call to you and speaking to you about anything. No. I am shattered. I am bruised. My ego is on the floor. I don't even know who I am anymore. He's having a blast. He said he even felt bad that people were calling in to check on him. He was just like, "I'm good, guys." Because he understood how to intentionally respond, how to be present. May have been And if it was earlier, relationship probably would have gone differently. And that's him being honest with himself. But it that's what it takes. Being brutally honest with yourself, accepting your position, and most importantly, seeing what you truly want to see and the destination you want to get to. Because as long as you're en route to the same destination you want to go, there's only so much that can sway you. My destination is healthy home. Okay? And by God's grace, that's what I've been able to be building. But most importantly, that is something that I'm ruthless about. And you have to be ruthless about your destination. Once you're ruthless about your destination, things start to make sense. You reverse engineer and say, this is what I want to build, a healthy home. The compromises can come in other areas. For your destination, who you are, your core values, your core mission, that can't be negotiated. You negotiate that, you negotiate who you are. And that's not something you should negotiate. But once you understand your destination, you also understand what it takes for you to get there. So you build the identity, you build the behavior, you build the core values, the frameworks, you build the capacity to sustain that person. When I was working with him, I taught him how to deal with conflict. I taught him how to deal with silent negotiation. I taught him how to understand who is speaking when he's angry. I taught him how to regulate himself under pressure. And each lesson built up this capacity that when it came to facing difficult scenarios, difficult situations, became the easiest thing ever, right? Because every week we're turning up. I'm telling him to do the homework, do this, do that. He's doing it. Yeah, I'll do that. Cool. And then he does it. He comes back. He's like, I've done it. Cool. How's it feel? It wasn't easy, but I've done it, right? So I say all this to say, pressure never calms down, it always compounds. But once you understand how to deal with it, because you build the intentional response muscle that creates an intentional story, an intentional route, an intentional outcome, you become pretty much unstoppable. Because everything you're building towards is exactly what you want to build towards. A lot of people come to me. There's a guy that I was supposed to work with, and I messaged him on LinkedIn, and he said to me that he's now going for a divorce. I said, cool. Was that the case when you were supposed to work with me? He said, no. A lot of men thrive off protecting their identity, even at the cost of whatever it is they want to build. You'd rather have people see you in a specific way rather than you be a specific way. And that is a broke mindset. It's a very broke mindset because it relates to I'd rather look rich than be rich. So you're burning yourself out trying to look the part rather than being the part. And that's one of the main reasons why I try my best not to do all this relationship guru BS. Oh guys, look at my... No. I want you to see that what I'm talking about is you. Whether you're a man or woman. I'm not here to show you stuff that makes you feel like, oh my gosh, look at them. No. Sometimes we go on live and do stuff, but that's not what this is about. It's about understanding who's showing up under pressure. It's about understanding that this is a personal journey. It's to do with your capacity. And once you build that capacity, nothing's stopping you. Alright? The key here is understanding how to recalibrate who's showing up, rebuild the behavior, and establish or reframe the habits of the person that's at work. And once you do that, once you understand what story you're telling yourself, what route you're taking, and what outcome you want, you're unstoppable. You don't need me no more. If you feel like this is you, don't let it get to the point where it's too late because you're too busy looking the part rather than being the part. Be the part. Be present. Build what you actually want to build. It's one life. You want to pretend for how long? Okay? Stop trying to control or avoid or escape and learn how to be intentional. I promise you, everything will change. If this video has added value to you, don't forget to subscribe. Share it with someone. I'll be honest, the views that I'm getting are doing my channel it's such a disservice. Do you want to know why I'm really late this week? It's because I was just like, oh, who's watching anyway? That's honestly how I felt. I have 12k on TikTok, freaking almost 11k on in LinkedIn, and here I am with freaking 20 views. That's crazy work. It sucks. YouTube is not ideal or easy, but hey, here we are. Do you know the time right now? It's 20 minutes past midnight. I wasn't going to record. Maybe I'm burnt out. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Really hope this video has helped you. And the next step is understanding the identity that's showing up. So if you're interested in understanding how to build your own identity, there's a paid breakdown I've done of the 8 things you should prioritize that I've done with one of my clients. So if you're interested in that, the link is probably going to be somewhere here. Definitely go watch that, and I'll see you in the next one.